Okay, I think we're good. Everyone's recording.
This is the blooper reel. 3 technologists can't figure out how
Yeah,
to record on it. Right.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. It is Francesco here. Welcome to the Keep Productive YouTube channel if you're brand new, and if you're regular, welcome back. So today we are joined by 2 awesome guests, good friends of mine, Carl Pauline, who is joining us from Korea, I believe it is.
It is.
Carl runs an infamous YouTube channel that discusses a range of tools, including Todoist, Evernote, and many more in lots and lots of detail. So it's great to be joined by you, Carl. And Scott Friesen from Simpletivity, who chats some real awesome stuff, including Trello, Chrome, and many more resources. And Scott is joining us from Vancouver, so it's a very continental call, right?
I think so.
All 3 corners.
It is, and it's so good to finally organize this one. So what we're doing is we're going to be talking about 3 sort of segments. We're talking about the past, what past productivity tools we used, what tools we're using at the moment, and what future tools, sort of that discussion about what's coming next for us. So we're going to break this into 3 parts. First part will be today. Second part will be on Carl's channel, and the third part will be on Scott's channel. And we'll have them all linked below. So, Carl, let's start off with you. Let's dive into your history of productivity software.
Oh, my history. Well, actually, if I go back to my high school, I was pen and paper guy, but I actually used to use a ruler and a pencil and draw out my own study timetable, particularly when I was in high school. But when I for my 18th birthday, my mother and father bought me a Filofax. And I'm just curious, do you guys remember, do you know Filofax? Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I'm terribly familiar with it.
Oh no. I think it was an 80s phenomenon. It was like because of the I've forgotten what we used to call them, but the when we had the economic boom and everyone was buying these leather A5, I think it's smaller than A5 organizer. I think the best way to describe it is organizer. I
remember them, but it's really bad because my parents had them. But
oh no, it's making me feel really old. Is that? But anyway, I did start off with a Filofax, and I absolutely loved it. And I think even at my parents' home back home in England, I think it's still there. My original Filofax. Actually, I do. I have. Then I moved on. When I moved into the professional world, I moved on to Franklin Planner, and I did bring it. I still have my original Franklin Planner from, way back in the 1990s, and I can't throw it away. It's got so much history in there, and finally, I think 2009, I actually moved into the digital world. I started with Things One.
Wow.
I was looking back at what I started with. Things One for about 18 months, 2 years, and eventually I moved over to OmniFocus, probably around about 2011, and then I'm guessing 2014, 15, I moved over to Todoist, and that's where I am happy to be today.
Brilliant.
And the one thing that I'm really quite excited about is in next month. Next month, yes. I am going to be 9 years with Evernote. I've never switched.
Oh my God!
Wow!
Seriously, 9 years. September 2009 was when I first got on board with Evernote.
Have you ever been tempted by like Trello or something else like that?
I've toyed with those, and I usually play around with them to see what all the fuss is about. But I always tend to navigate back to one of the 3 that I was using. Things because it was so beautiful and it was very Mac-like. OmniFocus because I felt I was becoming a productivity ninja and I had to be on the OmniFocus wagon. And then eventually, I think we all progress. I think over time, we all progress in the same way. We think, hang on a minute, I can do this better. And then you start looking around, and I came across Todoist and I thought, yeah, this fits me much better than OmniFocus does.
Oh, I love it.
So that's where I came from. Filofax. Oh, I feel so old.
What about you, Scott?
I was thinking about this, and probably one of the first applications or pieces of software that wowed me was a spreadsheet. And for me, it was probably the early 90s. I was just literally 12 years of age, and we had Quattro Pro. And I don't know if you're familiar with that spreadsheet. It was a competitor, right, to a legitimate competitor to Excel in those days. And I remember my father teaching me how to use a simple function, right? Just how to sum up some numbers or how to create an average. And that just blew my mind. Like I could do something in this cell and that could automatically make other things change in a different cell. And I think that was maybe the starting point for me with my passion for productivity tools, right? That there could be some form of automation, and I could do just a little bit of work, and all this other work could happen on the other side. In terms of a productivity tool, though, I probably have to go with something like a Palm Pilot, right? I remember that as my first actual mobile device, long before I even had a cell phone, and that was maybe the first time I saw a task list in a digital format, right? Palm Pilot had its own proprietary software. You could check things off. You could add things. It had a simple calendar. I loved that I could take it with me on the go, but I also loved that there's software, you could download it and install it on your PC or your desktop computer. And I know this is going to sound ancient, but I mean, I actually bought two sync cables. I had one for my office at work, and then I had another one at home because, of course, I couldn't do it via Wi-Fi. I couldn't do it any other way. I'd actually sync that Palm Pilot before I went to work. The first thing I did when I sat down at my desk in the office was resync that Palm Pilot, so everything was fresh on my desktop. And, that was the first time that I sort of managed my tasks beyond pen and paper, right? Beyond a planner, beyond something that was just on a scratch pad off the side of my desk. So, that Palm Pilot, I think I went through about 2 different versions of Palm before I eventually got to a real smart device. But when it comes to tools, and we've all been users of certain tools, whether it's Evernote or Todoist and that type of thing. My first, I guess, real, legitimate productivity app would be Remember the Milk. And that was the first app that I thought, I like the simplicity of it, right? I could enter in notes quickly. But on the other hand, I loved that it had sort of an advanced search wizard, right? You could use operators to create custom searches. So it looked very clean on the outside. It was easy to manage. Actually, it wasn't even a smartphone. I had one of the first versions of the iPod Touch, which I remember using Remember the Milk, even before I had a smartphone. But just that capability of updating my to-dos and my tasks in any location. And I think that mix of a very simple interface, but with some advanced features on the other end, I mean, that's continued to the tools and the products that I use today. I don't use Remember the Milk anymore. It's been many years since I've used Remember the Milk, but they were probably one of the first that really sparked that passion.
I love it. When you mentioned Quattro, I was just thinking of like a Gillette advert. That's all I was thinking about. I've not heard of these.
You know what? I believe that was one of their competitive advantages, is that they had more rows and more columns than Excel. Like they didn't have that limitation. So maybe just like the blades, right? Just like the razor blade, they could have more than the other guys.
I felt like they should have used that for their marketing. I mean, my story is, I think, not so similar to you guys, but obviously a couple of years ahead. I remember the first time I saw a Palm Pilot, and my dad had one. He was getting rid of it, and I was like, I want to try it out. So I played around with it, and I was like, this is wicked. The majority of my college years or high school years were using like A3 charts to plan everything. And then I discovered the wonderful Evernote, and I sort of fell in love with the tool, very much like Carl. Joined fairly early on, but not as early as not celebrating my 9th year yet at all. And then I really moved to Todoist, and I use Google Keep quite casually. So yeah, I mean, I think I kept mine relatively simple, like you guys, and you sort of grow with the tools, don't you?
definitely growing with the tools.
Yeah, that's it.
But as I think, as I mentioned, it's one of those weird things is that when you get into the productivity space, you start off with a specific tool, but I've not found anyone who ever stuck with their original tool. Evernote is a different case because it's not actually a to-do list manager. It's just a note-taking app with quite a few, good productivity features if you want to use them. But what I noticed with the to-do list managers, nobody ever generally stays with that first one. They start with one because it's being recommended at the moment. It's the fashionable one, if you like. But eventually they drift to their own style, and one that fits their own kind of productivity system or method of productivity. And that's one of the reasons why I'm pretty sure I will be celebrating 10 years with Todoist in probably, I can't, where am I? Probably about 4 or 5 years' time. Before years, I'll be celebrating 10 years with
we did a celebration.
Because it just fits my whole kind of way of thinking, if you like.
Yeah, definitely.
I love what those guys are doing with design, with their design features. I think Francesco, Alex, and I think it's Anna, who are very much in the part of the design team over there, and they're on Twitter, so I'm following them, and I see what they're doing, and they put these little screenshots. Oh, yes, please, yes, please.
Yeah, they tease like mad.
Particularly Alex does that. He's teasing us all the time.
It's bad, but it's good.
Yeah,
I have a question for you two, but for those listening along, definitely in the comments below, share what your first tools were, because it'd be great to hear. We'll jump in the comments and sort of have a look at what you guys use, because it'd be great to hear. A question for you both, sort of when you're going about choosing your first resources, do you have any advice for people? Because like some people have literally just discovered the software and they might come across one of our videos and be like, what is this? Do you have any advice for those brand new newbies?
Well, for me, no, I'll let you, Scott. Go.
Thanks, Scott. I think one of the first things that I recommend is that if it doesn't feel right in a short amount of time, like in the first few minutes or the first time that you're interacting with it, don't force yourself in it. Even if your best friend is recommending it, even if everyone is talking about it, if it doesn't feel right to you, perhaps you should move on to something else. I mean, the three of us know better than most people. There is no shortage of productivity tools and apps available out there. And sometimes you can be tempted to jump ship, right? You can be tempted to go to something else or the latest and greatest. They've got this and I don't got that and that type of thing. But I think, if it's not feeling right or if it's not feeling comfortable, if it's not fairly intuitive in the first 5 to 10 minutes, that's giving you a sign, right? That's giving you a signal, and maybe you should look at something else. Of course, watch a video, get some tutorial help if you feel it, but don't force yourself into that uncomfortable situation.
I think for me, what I've usually recommended is that people should start with the built-in apps on your phone or on your computer. I know that Microsoft obviously have, I've forgotten what they call their new to-do list manager, but I know Google's got it, Apple's got it, and those are the three big ones. They've got the three things. They've got the calendar, they've got the Notes app, and they've got some form of to-do list manager. I usually recommend if you're starting out from scratch, that's where you start. You're not investing any money. All those products are free. Build your system and then start looking around, because then you'll find what you're looking for in a much better way. But by all means, play around. If I could go back to the start of my digital journey, I would have so much joy.
Yeah, it's
so much to play with.
That's it. It'd be great starting now, wouldn't it?
But to be honest, I think anyone new really should be just playing around with the free built-in apps, get a system going, and then look at what's available on the third-party market.
Definitely. I echo you both there. And I would also say it's like just build the foundations before you build the big tool building that you're going to work in. Guys, it's been great chatting with you about the sort of past stuff. Let's pass over now to Carl to take over and to talk to us and sort of dive into the current apps we're all using at the moment. So we're going to be hosting that over on Carl's channel. So feel free to go over to his and we'll be diving into that topic. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you over there in a few moments. Cheers.
to express myself.